We've got a good 49ers quarterback update for you. Jameis Winston is in conversations with San Francisco to be QB2. He's also in conversations with Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers. So some competition for the 49ers. And all I have to say is this would be entertainment gold for those of us covering San Francisco if Jameis Winston made his way to be Brock Purdy's backup. He's a quote machine. And he was number 19 in QBR last year for the Cleveland Browns. So this would be an upgrade over Josh Dobbs and Brandon Allen at the backup quarterback spot for the 49ers. In fact, the last time that they had a really strong backup QB was just 2 years ago. And that backup QB is now in the headlines for signing a deal worth over $100 million. Sam Darnold has signed with the Seattle Seahawks to replace Geno Smith in the NFC West. So we can talk about how Sam Darnold's new contract affects the 49ers negotiation process with Brock Purdy. It doesn't. Darnold is signed for Baker Mayfield money. It is 3 years, $100.5 million of total value, which comes out to $33.5 million per year. For comparison, Baker Mayfield signed with Tampa Bay 3 years, $100 million with $50 million guaranteed. Sam Darnold gets $55 million guaranteed. So there's a little bit of salary cap inflation accounted for there. There's been a 9.3% increase in the salary cap over the course of the past year. So a 10% increase in guaranteed money for Sam Darnold. But this is a second-tier quarterback deal for Sam Darnold. It is about 10% bigger than Baker Mayfield's in the total guaranteed money. And it ranks number 18 of quarterbacks in APY at that $33.5 million per year. So this does not affect the Brock Purdy negotiations because Darnold was the number 14 quarterback in QBR this past season. Purdy, 2 years ago, was number 1. In his worst season, 2024, dropped down to only number 7. We're not even getting to the terrible playoff performance that we saw from Sam Darnold and the terrible performance in Week 18 against the Detroit Lions. So the 49ers rehabilitated Darnold's career when he was Purdy's backup, but there's obviously still something left to be desired. He is in his physical prime, still in his 20s, but Sam Darnold obviously has not earned enough trust to be paid A-list quarterback money. This is B-list quarterback money for Sam, who's now going to head to the NFC West. As I say this right now, recording this video, the Jets are signing quarterback Justin Fields, making him their new quarterback. This is from Adam Schefter. 2 years, $40 million for Justin Fields. So Fields comes in at $20 million. Sam Darnold comes in at $33.5 million. That's where Baker Mayfield is at. Justin Fields, I would say, is a C-level quarterback. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, B-level quarterbacks. And somebody like Brock Purdy, obviously an A-level quarterback, the highest QBR ever over his first 3 seasons in the NFL. He's going to sign a deal with the 49ers that presumably is going to be in the 50s. We saw the MVP, Josh Allen, sign a deal worth $55 million annually, an extension with the Bills. For Sam Darnold, this is a reunion with Clint Kubiak, who's now the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. Clint was the pass game coordinator, pass game specialist for the 49ers, went to be the OC of the New Orleans Saints, and now he is in Seattle. So the 49ers are going to get to see Sam Darnold twice a year. This is a project of their own doing when Darnold came in there in 2023, rehabilitated his career under Shanahan, continued that rehabilitation under the Minnesota Vikings, but there certainly was a limit to what Sam Darnold was able to do last year. Even though Minnesota finished that year 14-3, the final 2 games were not good for Sam Darnold, and he's not going to be playing behind an offensive line as good as Minnesota's in Seattle. He no longer has DK Metcalf, who has left via trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously no longer has Justin Jefferson, who was his top wide receiver in Minnesota. So I would say that the degree of difficulty is going to go up for Sam Darnold, but nobody's saying that he's reached his ceiling yet. He didn't have very good franchise support with the New York Jets or the Carolina Panthers. He finally reached a good franchise with the 49ers, and the Minnesota Vikings obviously facilitated his emergence into a quarterback who's making significant money. So I think it needs to be emphasized that Sam Darnold is taking steps up. It was a contract for $10 million last year with Minnesota, and he was just meant to be a bridge quarterback, and he was a bridge quarterback. J.J. McCarthy era is probably coming next in Minnesota unless they sign Aaron Rodgers or another veteran. We'll see if the quarterback market dominoes continue to fall in this situation. But he went from a deal worth about $5 million. I think it was worth up to $10 million with the 49ers, but he obviously, it was worth a base of $5 million, $4 or $5 million with San Francisco. He obviously didn't max out that deal with San Francisco, starting only one game, the Week 18 game against the Rams. He went from that to $10 million. Bridge starter, went 14-3, but struggled at the end with the Minnesota Vikings. And now he gets the deal worth $33.5 million annually with the Seattle Seahawks. But this is going to be a tougher degree of difficulty for Sam Darnold. Other quarterback news, this pertains to the 49ers. Remember Nick Mullins? He is now signed on to be the backup in Jacksonville. 2 years, $6.5 million, $3 million guaranteed. So Nick Mullins, former undrafted free agent, is now set to eclipse $10 million in career earnings. Good for him. I mean, this is an underdog through and through from the very start. Remember that first career start against the Oakland Raiders on Thursday Night Football. 49ers won that 34-3. Now Nick Mullins is on his way to ensuring that he makes over $10 million in his NFL career. Obviously, a physically limited quarterback. I think a lot of people look at Brock Purdy and think that he's Nick Mullins from a physical perspective, when Purdy actually has a lot of A-list physical traits. Mullins, though, he doesn't have the strong arm and is not particularly fast, but he's still managed to stay in NFL buildings and now earn himself over $10 million in his NFL career. Darnold, meanwhile, I mean, he's extremely physically gifted enough to be a number 3 overall pick of the New York Jets. We've seen some insane plays from Sam Darnold as far as arm talent goes over the course of his NFL career. So I think it just took him finding a good situation to make serious money. And this is a contract worth over $100 million. This is not top-level quarterback money, but you do have to applaud Sam Darnold for the perseverance to get to this point. It is not given to anybody in the NFL. He was seeing ghosts over his time with the New York Jets. It got a little bit better toward the end of his tenure with the Carolina Panthers. Enough for the 49ers to sign him as a backup in 2023. He beat out Trey Lance for the QB2 spot, impressed the 49ers enough. And also, I mean, Kwefi Adolfo-Mensah, who is the GM of the Minnesota Vikings, he's got a lot of 49ers connections because he used to be in their front office. So the impressiveness of Darnold with the 49ers led directly to a reference with the Minnesota Vikings. And he kept building himself up, and the story of perseverance ends with him, or continues with him, getting this contract worth $100 million total. Now we see where Sam Darnold goes next. Key part of the story is going to feature games against the 49ers. The NFC West quarterback situation should now be set for the 2025 season. Darnold in Seattle, Purdy obviously with the 49ers, although he hasn't signed a new contract yet. He is under contract for 2025, so we'll await that. Matthew Stafford back with the Rams for at least one more season, and Kyler Murray still with the Arizona Cardinals. But Darnold, Purdy, that should generate some headlines after those two were together in the quarterback room back in 2023. So how does Darnold's new deal affect Brock Purdy? It doesn't. But it's fun to talk about the Clint Kubiak reunion and the way that Sam Darnold has built himself up, despite a bad taste in his mouth to end the 2024 season. We'll see how he does moving forward. There's your 49ers, Vikings, Seahawks, NFC West, NFL free agency update. We'll talk to you soon.